Hello and welcome to WMT Reviews Avengers Month. I am Wiseman Tanofsky. So, Phase 2 was off to a somewhat rocky start, with neither the god-awful Iron Man continuation or the good but not great Thor sequel hitting as hard as any of the previous films. Whether this was the reason behind Marvel's outsourcing to television serials, or whether it was intended to counter the various comic book themed shows that DC had in the pipelines, Marvel released Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in 2013, a series which resurrected Agent Coulson and brought in a new band of characters to further expand the world of the MCU, with a more agency-based series. And surprisingly for me, it wasn't great. It's not bad per se, but it's just boring. I couldn't get into it, and I soon gave up towards the end of the first season. I couldn't understand what was happening to Marvel. First two films came out which ranged from disappointing to bloody dreadful, and now their attempts to move into television did nothing for me either. How could a series of films which started so strongly go so wrong in the wake of their big payoff? Was this the future of Marvel? No, it most certainly was not. For 2014 saw the release of what is widely considered to be the best film in the MCU, and depending on who you're talking to, on par or better than the Avengers itself. In cinemas for 2 days before finding its way into IMDb's top 250, and making skeptics slowly remove their spectacles in stunned silence, Captain America: The Winter Soldier was a worldwide hit, taking the Cap out of the World War and bringing him into the modern world with an exciting cast, a gripping story of espionage, infiltration, betrayal, and a villain who was just plain awesome looking. So let's not waste any time, let's head straight into the WMT review of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So what's the story this time? Captain America, played once again by Chris Evans, is coming to grips with his life in the 21st century as a frontrunner for S.H.I.E.L.D., but becomes suspicious that Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson, is keeping important information from him when he catches Black Widow, played by Scarlett Johannson, carrying out a secret agenda on a mission together. Soon after, Fury is attacked in the open by a number of mercenaries, being led by the mysterious assassin known as the Winter Soldier, revealed to be none other than Steve's old friend Bucky Barnes, played by Sebastian Stan. Surviving the initial attack, Fury is shot down and seemingly dies in surgery. Following this, Steve becomes implicated in Fury's murder by S.H.I.E.L.D. senior official Alexander Pierce, played by Robert Redford, and goes on the run with Black Widow. Encountering the computer-preserved consciousness of Arnim Zola, Steve learns that S.H.I.E.L.D. has been infiltrated by the new Hydra, with Pierce at the head, who plans to use a deadly new initiative called Project Insight to exterminate all of Hydra's current and potential threats with 3 heavily armed helicarriers. With the help of Sam Wilson, played by Anthony Mackie, and Nick Fury himself having survived his injuries to go undercover, Captain America and Black Widow infiltrate S.H.I.E.L.D., exposing the Hydra agents and shutting down Project Insight, saving the day. There was so much going on in this film that I actually struggled to condense it down to that without missing anything important. The story is so diverse and the characters so vast and interesting that it never stops for a moment throughout the whole of its running time. Avengers gave us our first insight into the size and scope of S.H.I.E.L.D., but Winter Soldier gives us an in-depth exploration of the ins and outs of this worldwide protection agency as a working whole. At times, I completely forgot I was watching a Marvel film. It was like something out of the Bourne series or Mission Impossible. It felt like a real-world action spy film, and less like a superhero movie, and as such it lost the cheese that puts a lot of the mainstream audience off superhero films. Sure, there were corny one-liners and impossibly cool action sequences in there, but the main plot was firmly grounded in reality. The enemy infiltration scenario, taking over the world from the inside. It was a fantastic story and it was told brilliantly. So let's have a look at how the cast do. Chris Evans returns as Captain America once again, and I'm really beginning to get into this guy's character by the time this film is over. He's not just a fish out of his time stream, he's something more than that, bringing the morality and the honor code of wartime America into the modern world. You can really feel the distaste he has for all the secrecy around him, being as he came from a time when you could trust the man standing next to you with your life, even if you'd never met him before, and this comes across brilliantly in his performance. He has some great on-screen chemistry with Johannson as Widow, especially in the second act when they go on the run together. At first, they don't even know if they should trust one another, but as the story progresses, they start to really work off each other, and it creates a very enjoyable on-screen relationship. But even more so, I enjoy the chemistry between Cap and Bucky, which I'll get to in the villain focus. Even so, a fantastic performance in a fantastic story, I cannot praise it enough. Now, of course, we also have the return of Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury, but this time, unlike his cameos in the Iron Man movies or his post-credit scenes, Fury is a lead character and gets a lot of screen time. Jackson's performance is even better suited to the role than his appearance. He really nails his character and delivers every line he has with the right mix of cynical humour and one wrong word and I'll end you. The key new player, however, is Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, otherwise known as the High-Flying Falcon, and boy did I enjoy this character. Even before he got those seriously awesome wings on, I thought this guy was great. The movie's opening between Evans and Mackie has some great chemistry, and their characters play off each other for the duration of the movie, which is great to watch. On to the villains of the movie, and I suppose it's only right to look at the mastermind before the awesome pawn. Robert Redford delivers a menacing performance as Alexander Pierce, the new face of Hydra. As Zola points out, he's a far more subtle and therefore more dangerous adversary, perched at the very top of S.H.I.E.L.D. like a venomous spider that could strike at any moment, and his screen presence and performance really work well to emulate this feeling. He's got the right demeanour, the right look, and the perfect tone for this very subtle kind of villain, and it works very well to the film's advantage. I hope to see more villains like this in the future. Not so much the loud and bombastic supervillain type that we've seen before, the more subtle villain, the one where you don't really know for sure whether they're a bad guy until the revelation happens. Okay, so the big one, Sebastian Stan as the Winter Soldier. Now going into this, I already knew the true identity of the Faceless Assassin, so this twist wasn't really a twist for me, but even so, my god, does this guy dominate a scene. He pulls off the sinister walking up the middle of a street even better than Lockdown in Age of Extinction, and the design is just amazing. He looks awesome. His delivery is dark and atmospheric, and the scenes where he begins to question his past are just as intense to watch as the incredibly choreographed fight sequences. All around a fantastic threat for Captain America to face down, and a very enjoyable performance. As good as this film is, it does suffer from the same conundrum as every other film in Phase 2, with the exception of Guardians of the Galaxy, in that where are the Avengers when all of this is going on? The problem with setting up a multiple hero universe is that once you've established the team-up scenario, it's very difficult to make future standalone flicks with their characters. Loki was going to take over the world in the Avengers, which justified the Avengers giving him a thrashing. But where were the Avengers when Malekith was going to, destroy the universe? Where was S.H.I.E.L.D. when the Mandarin destroyed Stark's home and he was presumed dead? Equally here, Thor could take down those helicarriers with a single swing of his hammer. Hulk has torn one apart on screen already. Hawkeye disabled one with a single arrow. And then, of course, there's the massive plot hole of Stark not finding the Hydra infiltration when he hacks S.H.I.E.L.D.'s network in the Avengers. But hey, maybe he did find it, and not telling them this was his way of getting back for leaving him to die in Iron Man 3. Even so, it doesn't hamper the film too much. In fact, I barely noticed. The film does so well to tell its own story, develop its own characters, and build its own tension to act as not only a great Avengers movie, but a great standalone action movie. Captain America: The Winter Soldier surprised audiences everywhere. What the original considered to be one of the weaker movies running up to the Avengers, the sequel is an action-packed thrill ride of a film. It has great characters, great tension, and incredible action. Did I ever really believe Fury was dead? Not really, but I did appreciate the Pulp Fiction reference on his gravestone, being as it is one of my favourite movies of all time. And Winter Soldier finds its way into a similar lineup as well. I thoroughly enjoyed this film, and I was very impressed at how well the Captain America character fit into a modern action movie. Better effects, better stunts, and a better story than the first Avenger. I can proudly award it a strong 8.5 on the Orsometer. If you only see one film from Phase 2, make it Winter Soldier. So that's an impressive 8.5 on the Orsometer for Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I've been Wiseman Tanofsky. This has been WMT Reviews Avengers Month. Thank you very much for listening.